کم زند گر نیستی آتش پرست آخر به این سازی چرا لا 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 تاب و تب کبر و حسد بر حق پرستان کم زند تاب و تب کبر و حسد بر حق پرستان کم زند گر نیستی آتش پرست گر نیستی آتش پرست آخر به این سازی چرا سازی چرا هرگز ندارد هیچ کس پروای فهم خویشتن هرگز ندارد هیچ کس پروای فهم خویشتن راضی وگرنه اینقدر راضی وگرنه اینقدر نامحرم راضی چرا راضی وگرنه اینقدر راضی وگرنه اینقدر نامحرم راضی چرا تاب و تب کبر و حسد بر حق پرستان کم زند. Now, so go in Baklo. Of course, Baklo will explain to you. Tabo, tabi, kibro, hasad. Yani dard, yani kibro, hasad are the two. Pride and envy, jealousy, arrogance. Yani na atisha. Andar jalane wala atish. درون الدر میده خاکسترنا تاب و تب تاو که میگرد امرا مثل تاو گرفتو آدم ده حال خونیه ده کیبرم که مور ده حال خونیه و تاو گرفته یگو رقم آتیش داغا از حسد بس دیگر رقم آتیش داغا مگر اگر تو آتیش پرست نیستی ده زی رقم چر مسوزی در آدو دیگر این رقم چر استی نام تو خواسته عبد الرحمن the king of the Musliman, where the Mizan is discussed in the Quran, in the surah of Ar-Rahman, علم القرآن خلق الإنسان وعلمه البيان. So he is called Abd al-Rahman, and he is the chief secretary is very devout, regular, praying, God-fearing, and being very just and honorable man. He says, I am Haq Parast. He says, my name is Haq Parast, and I am the king of the Haq Parasti in the world, and I will bring justice in this country of Afghanistan in 1880 to 1893. این نوشته من داستان گل بیگم است در درمیان تاب و تبه شما در کدام جایزی کبر و حسد میگرنید ذرا نوٹ کید دمنیز داستان تا انوز رس چپٹر 35 رکی موخاندی چیز بیان کده علمه البیان چیز بیان کده what has become clear بیان means مبین سے نکلا ہے بیان سے کہ بیان کا مطلب وہ تصویر دکھائے تم کو تاب و تب کبر و حسد اینال دبیزی داستان از کبر و حسد اگر شما آوردین یگو نشان باز چیف سکرتری رسته نزدیک زندان عادي که او تا یک دفعه باید پیش عبدالرحمن. Chapter 36. The chapter 36, there is no story of Gul Begum, there is no mention of Gul Begum, there is no talk of Gul Begum, because the whole trouble is now on the shoulders of the chief secretary, who has been spied by a chief of police, has forged a letter between him and the British agency. Spies have been dealing, and they have forged a letter like the original, which the Amir Abdurrahman had given to the chief secretary. कहता है ये बेल निगाह को खेली मुहिम वो दरियाफ्त में से तो गुज़ा the दरबार Abdurrahman. What is this? The Haziri ki rameh khaya inali chief secretary amdaniya the darbar iu dastana ki amunai ki dawa kadabat khilafazi ونرى أنا البعض ديجم ريبريشنا وثابت كنا كي إنجي غدارة. There was defiance in the chief secretary's very carriage as he entered the court. أنا بتبصر normal ما يستايم آمادايم خيلي آمادا. He spoke to no one, took no notice of the head of the police as he passed him by the door, and marched straight to the entrance of the presence chamber. The Khodi Majlis Darbar. In the morning, a casual observer knowing nothing of him would have pronounced him a criminal. أمي مسوب كذي كيورنا مش ناخذ باقين مقفتيخو كنفرم تمام court خبر شدك يمروزي خير زينية. Would have pronounced him a criminal as he stood now in the ante-room, erect and fearless. His very attitude denoted innocence. The door opened to let someone out, and the chief secretary stood before his master as of old. The Amir looked up surprised. So astute an observer and reader of character could not fail to observe the change. He was very astute observer of character, and he knew Afghan people very, very well and how to deal with them. You have returned? You have prepared your defense? I will summon your accusers. The official drew himself up, and his eye flashed fire. Do you think this fire is kibr hasad, Chagar? Kenal Mahmud Diay Turkuimnum, either Chikar Bashay Wacht Kimaina, Libek Saraznara, Kalam Kednim. Tai Abdurrahman Gufki Maborum Sadakanum Chizra Mudainra, Chief of Police Wagaira, Kedawa Kedakhalafas to Gulzari, Yagdafi Chimaji, Atish Migra, Yakshes Kibr, Yakshes Hasad. Your Majesty, he said, I have no defense to make. I will answer no accusers. From my boyhood, I have served you faithfully. درویش میکشین علی مگا از ریزگی ما در خدمت دوستم از یه طرف جناب کبیر صاحب که شما در خیلی یک غط کیبر ششتین هنجی. From my first entrance into your court, I have loved you. Now I appeal to you. Point out the man who has served you as I have served you. کس هست امیر خم که خدمت است و دعوایش بیتنه جناب؟ Twice, it is a long time ago, but twice I've saved you from danger, perhaps from death. Ill health and overwork has combined to alter me. So that I hardly know myself. I am listless and dull, unnerved. Your Majesty has not understood my depression. دغه مزمم شریک نیستن. عالی جناب. I have shunned my friends. I have behaved like a one with a burden on his mind. نه شاو مخاو درم نه صبح قرار درم. Like a criminal, if you will. Perhaps I have almost looked like one. But God is my witness. Khuda shahida that I never have I toiled more arduously in your service. Never since I have been in this country have I more right to appeal to you for protection against my enemies. تمام خدمات خورون منجی پیش میلا پیش زی کیالی گوش کنه ما کس دیگر نقد کس روی بریش دنیم فقط میخوایم کمی که از خورا پیش شما بیلم که شما چیز فیصله رین انا مرا میشناسن دیگه مرا نمیشناسن. I've served you all my life. The Amir held up his hand to command silence, an opportunity to speak. What you say is all true, he said. You have served me long as well. You have been unsparing of your time and energy, but you are only mortal. هستی خو آدمی زاد نه؟ درسته که تمام کارهای تو حق بجانبی. You have yourself told me that you wish to return to your own country. که ما پنجاب راییم. چند دفعه مرا گفته تو برار تسپستم داده زیاد رفته. Your country, which is ruled by a nation which, while calling itself my friend, keeps the mouths of its cannon pointed at my capital. و او مردمی که خود مردوست مگه انگریز مگر توب شی ام سنی دارالخلافه ما هسته. For months I have heard that you have been seeking an appointment among those strange friends of mine. از چند ماه میتر میشنوم که تو قدم زنای میتر ربط و ارتباطات داره قدم زی دوست های خیلی عجیب غریبی از ما که ما خود نفهمیدم دو دوستی زنا. That you have been in correspondence with your relations on the subject. و خط کتابه دی بین خانوادگیم که شما کدین مربوط به امزیگ بابو ده. That one of them has visited you and even endeavored to allure you from my service. و هیرم بعد ما راپور رسیده که برادر تو که اینجا آمده بود و برزی بود که تو رزین خلاص کنم برده خدمت انگریز شده بودم تو یا نه. I myself know. میره ما خود مخبر دارم. He himself spoke to me on the subject. خود چیز دانو گفت برد. A paper of little importance, but one given to you by me in strictest confidence, has been found in the office of my friend's agent, ready to be dispatched to India. خب اینا لی بوگی که او خواده که ما ترده دادم از دیست خو راز بود راز تو چرا محرمی راز نشدی؟ I have faithful servants. اینا بندای از ما آدمای از ما خیلی وفادار هستند در جای خود کار خود انجام میدن. Besides yourself. تو در جای خود مگر دیگم وفادار زیاد دارم. Men to whom I owe much of the peace that has so long reigned in my country. و بخاطر اینمزی نفریا که ما بلیزنا اعتبار دارم بخاطر زیم یک امن و امان در افغانستان است. One of these saw the paper. این میتر یکی از وفادارای ما یک کاغذ پیدا کردی خط دیچی افتید recognized its importance فهمید که اوه خیلی مهم پیپر and brought it to me. What excuse have you to make? چی عذر داری اینا بیان کو. How did it get into the British agency? The Amir's eye never moved. It was fixed on the man before him. The room had gradually filled with courtiers and servants of all ranks. Except in the immediate vicinity of the Amir's couch, there was hardly standing room. فقط گرد تخت از کم جای من نبود دیگه تمام دربار پر شد. خلق جمع دیگه. And not one man in all that crowd would have changed places with the official who stood facing his judge, his back turned to his accusers. The Bain Ruibri Amir, Chief Secretary Estada, Puchtuni Muddain. With something like a laugh, or rather, perhaps one might say, a shout of derision, the Chief Secretary turned and faced them all. Then turned again and addressed his master. My accusers, he said scornfully, are these pariahs my accusers? If so, I refuse to answer them or to speak to such dogs at all. Kudam atish bashay chagar hasad. Wish kibr bud ish hasad mukana. Dogs they know I am an alien. All hasad balls the blazma ki begana yes Punjab as British India. Afghanistan church Chief Secretary. Alien. Yani ajnabi, begana. Begana ishtor VIZIER'S Amiri Kabul jurda. I dalili sababi hamay Afghaniyun unjo dar darbar mein bashad. They know I am an alien, they know I have private sorrows and troubles. وخبر داره که خانه ما خرابه. خاتون مرده خود محل ما خرابه. And they know I have the pay of Your Majesty's Chief Secretary. ومراعاة مشير على رمز دربارش مخرم. That is all they know. They know nothing of loyalty, wafadari, nothing of duty, masuliyat, nothing of patriotism. Muhibbi watani, they want but one thing, my pay. Your Majesty does not for one moment believe they could, even if they would, do my work. وشما باور دارین که کارهای از مرا میتمام شم که جمعش نمیتونه. But because they want my pay, my house, my position, they make plots and deep-laid plans to overthrow me. They intrigue, they forge, they perjure themselves, all that they may obtain to paltry a sum that I am half ashamed to call it my salary. And Your Majesty asks me to answer them. ولا تخسر الميزان. Please balance this now, Janabi Abdur Rahman. But I dare to stand before you, one man, an alien, and refuse to speak to them at all. I am sick of my life. I do not wish to live. I would rather die. I have spent my health and strength in Your Majesty's service. I have worked for you and your cause day and night, and I believe in you and love you still, because I can see how impossible it is for you among these rogues and false witnesses to judge me fairly. I fear neither gallows nor gun, nay, rather I seek them, and am ready to face them. But before I do so, and in presence of this vast flight of carrion crows, all watching for my poor corpse, I hand you your letter. اللاش خوراینا المنتظره که بعد از لاش زمر بخره مگر اینا جناب خاطر که شما بسیار زیاد دروازی مگین کی پیدا شده اینا فورجریش این اصلش. The letter you placed in my hands and which has never left my possession since. اما وقتی دادین تا هنوز پیش از من خب. I have other confidential papers, top secret papers of your majesties. Some of them papers I have had for years. They are all in my house. They are all ready. Any one of these vultures can go and fetch them for me. The Amir held the paper in his hand. He was looking at it carefully over and examining it. This is the original, he said in his low, impressive tones. Someone has made a copy. My God, what villains I have got for my subjects. They will try to prove to me soon that I myself am a traitor. کدام آتش چگرمی کیبر باشه بنظریم. You hungry hawks, you're on a sharp lookout for prey. تمامش منتظر شکاری ده. But take care. You do not strike too soon. It is better for such as you to wait until the quarry is quite dead. کم دیگه ما وصله کن. بلکه لاشا تمامش بفته باز بین لاش خورا. Though sick and sad, he has claws that can scratch and jaws that can bite, and he may strike you so that you never rise again. 2 minutes ago, this room was full of overflowing. Now where have these accusers gone? My son, I forgive your vehemence, which was hardly becoming in the presence of your sovereign. There are times when the most moderate of us cannot restrain ourselves. Arshiki adilana borim miana ravi borim bazam نمیتونیم بعض اوقات خود کنترل داشته باشیم. خدا ببخشه ما را دیگه. Go home and rest. برو کلاس استراحت کو. Or rather, no, stay. همینجا باش. I'm sending for my food. اون وقت نان از مام شده. You must be refreshed before you go. I shall inquire into this case. يلا ما شروعنا inquiry about this case. کی کار کرده. Your enemies shall not go unpunished. The chief secretary bowed low. Something of his usual melancholy had settled in him again. تازه باز سر حال آمد. از دیگی بور شد. First, let me give thanks to my God. یک نماز شکرانه انجام بدم. Who alone can deliver me. تنها خداوند مرا نجات دیده میتونه. He said reverently, and passing from the presence chamber where he had been the object of so much interest and excitement, he entered a small apartment, often used as a writing room, like office booth, by the princes and certain officials of importance. It was a bright little room. At the corner of the house, one window facing the entrance gate, the other looking into the prettiest part of the flower garden, where there were seats and benches for the comfort and convenience of pages and courtiers. قاصده و درباریا که میل استراحت کنه باغ ما موجود دی روم دیگه دو کلشیم چه خوب روشن. Oh, Nabi Khan, bring me some shawl or carpet to pray on, and some water for my wuzu. He called to one of his servants sitting in the sun just by the entrance, waiting for his master to appear. خدمتکار منتظر که امر شونه فوراً مقامی سامان وزویز مرا بندوبست کو. The summons was instantly obeyed, and long did the chief secretary remain wrapped in his devotion. Sitting on his heel on the carpet spread for the purpose, his hands held out before him in earnest supplication. The sound of voices came through the window. دمی وقتی خلوت و عبادت و چی سرصدا گفتگوی ما از برون کلکین از من باغ. Voices that came and passed on, he heeded them not, but prayed on. فقط منتظری the فکری نماز خود. He asked his God for no special temporal blessing, only for light, hidayat, guidance, nur, and strength, قوت, for whatever lay before him. که هرچی بعد هرچی است ما آماده خد مرا کمک کو. Suddenly, however, his attention was arrested. مگر توجه شد طرفی گفتگوی شد که از برای آمد. Two boys. He knew exactly who they were. Had evidently occupied the seat immediately below the window. The times كن قرارا بالشوكيش تاردوش أنا گفتگو جاریه. این میشناسه واردور آوازه از نار میشناسه صدایش. And were discussing the event of the afternoon. چی بود امروز در دربارش قصه بود. That was a fine appeal. خوب جواب داد. One was saying. I must say, I thought the chief secretary spoke well, and what he said was true. راسم گفت والا. Yes, and he looked well too. خوب سر حال بود, and that has something to do with his getting off so easily. You know how influenced the AMIR is by looks? وده قواره خیلی زود زیر تاثیر مارانه عبدالرحمن. But what he said was no defense. He has averted the evil day for the moment. این دفاع نشد. یک اپیل شد, یک ناله شد, یک درخواست شد که پلیز دیگه تو جناب مر نجات تو مر میشناسی ما خوب چیزی توی مفادار تویم دیگه مر پلیز نجات بدی. But public درو مگه که it is not a defense. این self defense خورید نمفهمه درو. این روز بعد خالی یک چند وقت وری خالی ملتوی کدایی. They have made a ring from which he cannot escape in the long run. خندق खोदा गया है तुम्हारे सराउंडिंग में तुम्हारे जानने से ये खबरत नहीं है खुद तो. He is bound to fall, and then what is there for him? The gallows or a prison? या दार या बंदीखाना, which to my mind is worse, कि बदतर از दार. There are some others that will ornament the gallows before he does. अरे the بلدار خرفتنیه دیست جلاد افتادنیه لیکن یک چند نفر دیگه از پیش بنظریم. I fancy the others replied warmly. This case is going to be sifted to the bottom. یہ تا آخر شمارا یہ case. I heard the Amir say so, and you know what that means? Sifted یعنی تا آخر شد بوی کو تا مساری بویز کجا مایا. I dare say we shall see the executioner busy. جلاد دیگه چند روز busy خواهد شد. But others being hanged first won't save him. مگر راون از این مایا. He is bound to fall, sooner or later. Doesn't matter. I tell you again, they have arranged a ring to do it. And they will stick to their purpose like flies to a honey dish. Pasha, Belshirnishishta, until they have destroyed him. ونطرح القصد. Yes, and then betray one another afterwards. When he is dead, that is their way. They have been at it for years. بزور که بیخش کن باز اونا که سر کار آمد باز دیگه بیخ کن دماره. این میرقم صدها سالار اینا کار از این میرقم. Oh, nothing is surer than that. But I should not like to know who made that second copy. Who got the chance of copying it? He must have kept it carelessly, to say the least of it. Or he may have copied it himself and sold the copy to the English. He is a sly devil, that, I dare say he got a good round sum for it. Arkas ki taqallubi khadra jor kada qad English sazbaz kada khub paisa ho girifta basha. I don't believe he ever did any such thing. He isn't the man to do it. The more sympathetic of the two said warmly, but these police agents are clever enough to invent anything. हर चीज़ तकल्लुबी की बुगी कि हम रास्त कितनी शर्म जोरना पड़े थे. Oh, clever enough, of course they are. And if it doesn't strike them, I'll put them up to it. I like to see the fun. It's the only life we have, the other speaker said gaily. Ali maga agar ye qissa magar nashud bas mostu kesta qissar bas shor bidi chtor. Yak zindagi hai bya kam tamasha kani. Well, I don't wish to see him hanged. He's done many of us a good turn, and if I were he, I would escape. I would not stay here to be caught like a rat in a hole. Mushwari gir kana ek roz tura utarna. This was the intrigue, my dear Nosago and Bakulo and Ijago and the boys and girls and the teenagers and the Joanna and the positively, actively engaged in social responsibility through social media, because it's supposed to be social, isn't it? For social purposes. Finding out about the library where the stories or the history comes alive and is brought to you alive. The spirit of the ancestors and the grand masters, predecessors of the Hazaras, Hazara communities around the world. And I hope that this made a connection with the story of Chief Secretary being accused of forgery and betrayal. So he has to forward his case, but in this very emotional and very intriguing and cunning scenario, like we recited from Bedil in the beginning of the program in the introduction, it is the Barhaq Parastan Kamzanat. This is the mayar. If you think that you are on the haq, then always the changing situation is motivating you. The situations may move you to either display kibr or hasad. It means it's like your temperature rises, not in the body, but in the mind and in the heart, the inner bodies. Tabo tabi kibro hasad bar haq parastan kamzanat. Haq parastan are cool. Onu mayara to cool khuraz this nadi bhai. It's not your personal story. To sel kunj haq chia. Baz situation change, baz to the kibr rafti, the hasad rafti, baz to haq ziyad tumara. You gotta keep your cool. Garnisti atash parast. Akhir ba in sazi chara. اصل حق آتش پرستی علمیه که تو کبر حسد کنی دیگه، تو گور خوش داری و فیل میکنی نزدیک مایده زو. هرگز ندارد هیچ کس پروای فهم خیشتن. Whatever your name is, what is within you. Razi. Probably you are yourself a secret, a very deep secret. Pas pushti naam pushti, pas pushti chehra pushti, pas pushti ethnicity pushti, pas pushti ideology pushti, pas pushti psychology pushti, pas pushti I don't know whatever. Razi, tu is still a mystery este. Wagarna in qadar na mahrami razi chara. Tu da kham raz ma zejni. Ye dundal nani ki what is the secret behind this? ये बदबख्ती हम ची layers तरह या ना तू हम एक बदबख्ती के सर तेर के दिवस मगे okay this is fine now it's very nice. Kibru hasad, atash parasti. This is a question which we asked in the very beginning. Questions are the creative acts of intelligence, and probably there is one more. Why do we have kibru hasad? Most of us are burning in this. Nisti Yajuj Sade Jism Darahe Tu Chist. Do you know Yajuj? and Ma'juj. This is the eschatology. In the Islamic Quranic eschatology, the ilm of Akhiruz Zaman. These are the symbols. Ya'juj and Ma'juj will appear. Yani, what does that mean? Where is the knowledge of this? Where is the science of it? YouTube has a lot of things, but I don't know if you've got really a scholarly source. What is the meaning of this according to the Quran and the science of the Hadith, etc. in the perspective of the Quran for the Musliman. Nisti, proof ko ki tu nisti. Cheez nisti. Nisti Yajuj. Nito, conforma. Nisti Yajuj Sade Jisma Darahe tu cheest. Then why is your body becoming a barrier for your movement? Because body to qaid kana tum gai marban kada inji. To ir bari khod ko ek دیوال ke esta tum ki char دیوال esta kada inji. Rais ma mazid banj dare roz baroz. Sad the physical sad yani dam rakitur dam. Dam bari rokko ya amu halqa guftad. Nisti Yajuj Sadde Jism Darahe tu cheest. Nisti Harut and Marut is another one. Nisti Harut Murdi Dar Chahe Babul Chara. Nisti Harut Murdi Dar Chahe Babul Chara. غربت صحرا امکان دروز بیش نیست. غربت صحرا امکان نت دروز بیش نیست. از وطن یک بار گشتی این قدر غافل چرا. از وطن یک بار گشتی این قدر غافل چرا. Because he didn't read the story of war and migration, social networks and economic strategies of the Hazaras of Afghanistan and now Pakistan, because they are all again war and migration, everywhere in the world, scattered. Az vatan yak bar gashti in qadar ghafil chara. قمریه یک سرو باش و اندلی به یک چمن. قمریه یک سرو باش و اندلی به یک چمن. می شوی پروانه گرد شمع هر محفل چرا. می شوی پروانه گرد شمع هر محفل چرا. چرا 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 چرا. ابر با ابر اینجا می کند از کیسه دریا کرم. Example cloud می دارو. ابر اینجا می کند از kise darya karam ay tawangar barnayari hajate sahil chara ay tawangar ay zoravar ay tawangar ay zoravar barnayari hajate sahil chara Qumriye yak sarv basho andalibe yak chaman darane de na Nowroz Zawar speaks to Chaman Lalai today. Very nice. Thank you very much for being part of this presentation, this narration. Your comments shall be collected. Yes, Chagar said yesterday that we will collect your comments from YouTube and Facebook. If you have spared it and written somewhere, just make a photocopy of it, an image of it, send the pic to Chagar, and we will sit together. And we think that an overview program should also happen at the end of it on Friday or maybe Saturday. So this weekend is going to be the last part of our program. No, it's just the beginning. Don't worry. This is the Hazara Pioneers Library on Amunji Strategy at Mechid TV.